Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Mr. Pick Me and the Manhater podcast. I have the giggles. No. This topic has already gotten to me.
I
Okay.
did nothing to mess this up. I just said to you before we started recording that I didn't have a way to mess up this intro today. I was going to be good.
Ugh. This topic is really has me giggling, and I apologize in advance because I can't stop laughing about it. Anywho, I am the man hater, as I'm called online, despite the fact that I don't hate men. And Chesko?
I am Mr. Pick Me, despite the fact that I've already been picked. And together, we are Mr. Pick Me and the Man.
We just said that.
You know what? I've been overthinking messing up our intros way too much because it's going to happen naturally most of the time.
Well, I told you I have the giggles. I have a bad case. Might be terminal. I don't know.
No.
So today, another fascinating manosphere conversation has started. I believe it really took off on Twitter or X, whatever. And if you recall, back in the day, there was the women online talking about whether they would pick a man or a bear, right? And, a lot of women picked the bear, a lot of men were mad, but they have their own argument now, which is
100 men versus Silverback Gorilla theme song.
You want bad advice, man? I'll give it out gladly. I got some good advice for you. No, you don't. Advice for you. No, you don't. No, you don't. Shit.
it sounds like a video game. First team, one gorilla. Second team, 100 men. Like, just the basis of it. Like, where was somebody that they're like, I think 100 men could take on a gorilla?
Well, I was certain that this was being blown out of proportion. Like it was like, because I saw somebody mentioning it, a video online, and I was like, oh, it can't be. There's no way there's like a bunch of dudes saying this. It has to be like, oh, this is one person made this video and like it's being blown, it went viral, blah, blah, blah. Alas, I don't even know what the original was because I found hundreds of guys that are not only saying the argument, but there's a lot of them in the comments that think anyone saying otherwise is just rage baiting. That we're the ones that are rage baiting for taking the side of this poor defenseless gorilla.
Okay. I just to start us off with some facts here.
Wait, but before, can we make sure everyone is 100% clear on
Okay.
this? So the idea, the notion, because there's been a lot of people like, so well, a guy with a spear or something. All right, the exact scenario.
A guy with a spear?
Yeah, is 100 random men.
Unarmed.
Right? Not the unarmed random dudes, right? Not the smartest, toughest, strongest guys. 100, you're walking through the mall one day, you grab 100 guys versus a silverback gorilla in a fight. Who would win? A lot of these guys are claiming the dudes, and we both have a strong opinion. Now, please, Reagan, grace us with gorilla facts.
This is the most us part of this podcast. And now, facts I've learned online.
I'm actually very excited.
Okay. Gorillas are incredibly strong, significantly outstripping. That's an interesting word. Human strength. Okay. Ooh. Okay. That was so weird. A full-grown male gorilla, especially a silverback, can lift up to 1,700 or 2,000 pounds. This is estimated to be 4 to 10 times stronger than the average human. Oh, their strength is a combination of their large size, muscular build, and powerful bite force. So they will bite you. They will absolutely bite you. In case you need to know how strong their bite force is estimated to be around 1,300 psi, which is higher than that of a lion. They bite harder than lions do.
Well, I just did the math, and the average man can lift 135 pounds, it says. So an average dude, just an untrained dude. So that is roughly 12 and a half times the strength.
Mm-hmm.
Starting
Mm-hmm.
off.
Mm-hmm.
Go on. I wanted to make this. That was my tism moment popping in where I had to have the exact. You said it because the thing said. Anyways, go ahead, please tell me more gorilla
Okay.
facts.
Those are our main gorilla
Okay.
facts. Now,
Okay.
this is an article from Newsweek.
Mhm.
Okay. Could 100 men really take on one gorilla and win? We asked ChatGPT. This is what they said. In a battle between logic and hubris, 100 men and one gorilla entered the fray over the weekend. Over one social media user's post suggesting the men, if organized effectively, what? These men are so crazy. Would emerge victorious in such a matchup. So the user was Dream Chasing Mike on Twitter, as I said. I think 100, word I will not be using ever, could beat one gorilla. Everybody just gotta be dedicated to the shit. Okay, it's had over 200 million views.
Jesus.
Oh, also, ChatGPT brought up the speed and agility of a gorilla. A gorilla can sprint short distances at around 20 to 25 miles per hour and can climb with extreme efficiency. They also have thick skin and dense muscles, making them very hard to injure. This is what ChatGPT took into consider when it gave its verdict, okay? Environment. If the fight happens in a wide open field, the men could surround the gorilla. In a forested or cramped environment, the gorilla's mobility advantage would increase. Okay. Strategy. Swarm attack. If all 100 men attack simultaneously, they could overwhelm the gorilla simply by mass. Disagree. Sacrifice. Realistically, the first few men would almost certainly be killed.
Mm-hmm.
Or severely injured. The gorilla could easily maim several men before being exhausted. Do you want me to read what ChatGPT has given as the
Sure,
potential
let's hear it because clearly that's what where we're at as a society.
Yes.
Is that ChatGPT is the arbiter of all things.
Us dudes want to know, can we take out a gorilla?
AI, tell us.
Poor AI. It's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, gorilla wins scenario. If 100 men panic, scatter, or fail to coordinate, the gorilla could pick them off into smaller groups. If fear dominates, the men would break rank. Yep. A gorilla could kill multiple people with a few swipes or bites. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
If humans win, if the men surround and attack simultaneously, sacrificing some individuals, they could restrain the gorilla.
Mm-hmm.
Given enough people grabbing at its arms, legs, and head, eventually the gorilla would tire. Once immobilized, the gorilla could be beaten. ChatGPT says, yes, given those circumstances, 100 unarmed men could defeat a single male gorilla. But it would come at extreme cost, likely dozens of deaths. It would require incredible coordination, courage, and strategic sacrifice. They're like writing like a fantasy novel right now. It would take incredible courage. Without careful planning, the gorilla could very well win or cause immense devastation before being overcome. Summary line. Victory is possible only through overwhelming numbers, sheer courage, and sacrifice. That was ChatGPT's take on the whole thing. Chesko.
Here's my big critique over all is that every one of these, the guys that are confident about it, assumes that 100 men can just form into this amorphous blob of 100 men to overtake this gorilla. Yes, if you were able to simultaneously just pile on and sacrifice the lives of the first 20 guys in the front lines and use them as meat shields, then yes, you could overwhelm with your pure weight and mass alone, might be able to smother the gorilla. Here's my biggest issue. Every confident guy is always the assumption that they're not part of that first line, right? Who are you going to find in this scenario of 100 random men to be the first 10 that are going to charge in first and get their heads ripped off? They're going to get demolished from this creature. And then after that, it's not even just the first 10. Let's say you get 10 dummies that are willing to just accept that, well, we weren't going to win anyway. I'm just going to die. So for the sake of these other 90 random guys, I'm going to give up my life. Then you need the second round of 10 guys that just saw 10 men being mutilated by this gorilla, right? That are also willing to be then the second line of dead guys so that the following remaining guys can then jump in and hopefully overtake this gorilla. There's no world where that exists. And also the psychological trauma of seeing like 10 to 20 dismembered, half bloodied, arms pulled off men. They're going to be like, all right, it's tired. It's our turn, boys. That's not going to hit you. Psychopath.
Oh my God. I'm actually crying. Number one, I can tell you put in a lot of thought about this.
I can't stop. This is my Roman Empire. I can't stop thinking about this.
It's such a good point too, because that's what I was thinking when they said 100. It's like, you can't mobilize 100 people effectively. Like, I agree. I think they see themselves as like the infected in a zombie movie where they're just gonna like World War Z it and like crawl over and just like absorb this gorilla. Number one, no, that's not how people move. Number two, I don't know men to organize themselves effectively. Like, I've not seen it. And especially in this case, when you don't have like a clear leader and there's no training, you're asking 100 random dudes. Okay, so we're gonna go after this gorilla. And like, to your point, which is like, the people on the front line know they're about to get ripped apart by a gorilla. I don't see anybody signing up for that.
It's gonna be like, yeah, well, for the greater good, random guy that I don't know.
Hey, Charlie, go in there.
Yeah, okay, I'll go do it for you guys.
Courage!
You guys got my back, right?
You would have to trick them. 100% you'd trick the first. But then the second line, to your point, would have seen the first line and say, you know what, actually, no. Also, you would have to have nobody who would run. One person runs, you've messed up. Like, anybody runs, anybody breaks formation. You also have all of these men who, if they're agreeing to this, I would guess, vastly overestimate their own strength. Vastly. So they're going to behave in ways that one does when they overestimate their own strength, which like just for an example of this, there's some statistics that women who do like self-defense start to overestimate like their abilities and like don't think about maybe like the other outside things that could happen. Like placement, does he have a weapon, these things, and it can actually lead to women putting themselves in riskier situations because they know that like in a good circumstance they physically can take care of themselves. They put themselves in worse areas where if they didn't think that, maybe they wouldn't walk around. Anyways, my point is, that was a statistic I read a long time ago that I was like, when people really overestimate their strength, they are more willing to put themselves in riskier situations. So I'm seeing those men move in ways that are not in their best interest. I'm not seeing them be defensive. I'm seeing them like I'm going to be the one. You're going to have like 20 guys who are like, I'm going to get the gorilla over the head. And they're going to get taken out immediately. Absolutely.
And then when you see that guy's arm ripped off of the gorilla's teeth, you're going to be like, my turn. No. I'm going to find a pile of body parts and hide underneath it and stay still. I'm fully admitting that I am a coward in this situation. There's no
against a gorilla. Yeah.
This is why this is the little extra insight into me for years. My wife, it's been a running joke to my wife and I am fucking terrified of silverback gorillas. It is I've seen like videos of like photographers and I'm like, no, when one walks by this massive brute of a gorilla, and you see how quickly they move too. Like they're oh my God.
They're awesome animals, but they will kill you.
I have to put the caveat that I have a innate fear of silverback gorillas.
And you could be one of the 100.
Yeah, I could. You're right.
Yeah.
I could be I'm not alone. I'm not alone.
I think like also the second you see somebody literally get their head ripped off, all courage goes out the window.
No.
I mean, like, we couldn't stick together over toilet paper during the pandemic. Do you remember how crazy people got? Like, you think 100 men are going to be like, no, everything's fine.
We got this guy for the greater good.
Yeah, I'm not going to sacrifice somebody to get away from this gorilla. Like, all it takes is a break in formation. That gorilla is going to take you down. And like, they're like, oh, it's going to get tired. How much is it going to get through before that? Probably a lot of you.
And I've seen some weird arguments. I know we're going to get to the arguments of that, but one specifically annoyed me was they showed a gorilla being scared of these ducks that were coming up to. It was like running away from them because it was like what the fuck? I was like, oh, you've never ran from a spider, right? I don't run from a spider because I'm terrified the spider's going to eat me and dismay. It wouldn't win in a fight. Do you think because I've ran from a spider that I wouldn't win a one-on-one fist fight against the spider? No, doesn't prove anything.
Well, it just probably was weird. It's like, what's that thing? Jesus
what the
Christ.
hell are these things?
It's a survival instinct. Like, I love that men are like, I never do that. I walk into any situation. I don't care about a duck.
It's also, they're like, well, if every single guy was like bloodthirsty and into it, and then the assumption is also but the gorilla also has to be a docile, not confrontational, not bloodthirsty. So you have to have all these perfect
gorilla,
scenarios. You have to have a beta gorilla versus 100 self-proclaimed alphas.
Also, like, we're getting Chesko and I are way too, like, into facts and, like, logic. I think also we need to acknowledge the fact that, like, why are men talking about this? Like, what is going on with them mentally that they're like, I know, I need to spend the next couple of hours fighting with people online that we could take on gorillas.
It is a very weird view. I really do think, I said this in a video I made about this, my first rant, my first initial kind of response to this is that it's like, it feels like they were like, no, I think that it's been enough time has passed since that discussion of men versus alpha predators, where like all these guys were saying like I could beat up, all these specific, a bear, a cheetah, all these different types of things. They're like, I think I could do it in the right circumstances.
A cheetah, do you know how fast those things run? You're
there
done
were so
for.
many, where it was just absurd, and then and rightfully so. The conversation died down because so many guys were getting embarrassed by people responding and just pointing out how absurd it was. And then enough time has passed. They're like, I think, you know what? The question was wrong. It wasn't one-on-one isn't fair. Let's talk about 100
men.
Yeah.
Chesko, though, I don't think this is fair right now because we have a similar perspective. I think we need to hear from the men that want to talk about this.
Let's do it.
Let's platform this.
All right.
I'm losing it. I just need everyone to know I cannot stop laughing at the whole need for this argument and like men being so confident in their abilities to fight gorillas. I think
the clips I found, I have no idea about who these men are or if they're good or bad people. This is one of our more lighthearted episodes in the sense of I'm not saying these guys are terrible for having a differing opinion on this, although toxic masculinity definitely plays a role in the absurdity of this conversation.
I love that you said this is a lighthearted episode when half this episode is you and I being like, the first men are getting their heads ripped off. When the gorilla takes the first round's arm and starts beating the second row to death.
Silly things. Just girly things.
Girly? You say girly things? Girl math. No, this is boy math.
This is the definition of boy math. Yeah.
Everyone's like, what's boy math? This. Yeah. Okay, let's give this guy.
Let's give him a listen.
This was a tweet.
Oh, he's gonna steal it from you.
That got 180 million views.
Oh shit!
This past weekend. I think 100 friends could beat one gorilla. Everybody just got to be dedicated to the shit. And that sparked a debate across the internet with people saying whether or not 100 people could or could not defeat one gorilla in a fight.
Mm-hmm.
I am firmly of the belief that 100 people could easily beat a gorilla in a fight. Okay, all right.
I think 10 guys that could really hold their own, that knew what they were doing, like 10 UFC fighters.
No.
But the key part of this
10
is everyone's got to be about the shit.
Yeah, that you got to be about the shit.
Because the first guy who goes in is going to get his head ripped off by the gorilla, and then everyone else has to be like, but hold on, we got to still do this together.
It's got to be like the Nazi meth soldier.
Well, if it's one by one, no.
Well, no, I know, but like
Well, yeah,
someone's dying.
Like the advantage that we have as human beings is that we can do a battle plan, put that together. We're not going to go after this guy like bad guys go after Steven Seagal, where it's like, okay, I'm going to run at him, then he's going to step to the side, touch me, then I'll have a heart attack and die. Then you go at him. No, you got to just, if you're about the shit, you got to I think you could do it with 10 if they're heavyweights. You just surround, you grab limbs, and then you just start breaking bones.
Yeah.
You just start breaking bones.
But
How does one break a bone?
I would honestly just grab his windpipe and snap it. Done.
I think you get 2 guys that just go for the eyes. You got to take the eyes out. If you get the eyes, then you can beat the fuck out of anything.
Also, do gorillas have balls? I'd assume they do. Just fucking hammer his balls.
I was thinking that too.
They got balls. They got tiny dicks.
The problem, though, is what happens when the gorilla gets a hold of one person and rips his head off, and then everyone's like, fuck.
Or just starts swinging him around like a Donkey Kong club.
Right. Is everyone still about that shit?
You have to stay about the shit.
Let's be clear. The confidence of these guys is that 10 men who are about that shit, whatever the fuck that means, Excuse my language. I'm getting very upset this episode.
I mean, I love that they're acting like that's a common phrase.
Yeah.
You know, you have to have men that are about the shit.
About that shit. You know, like it's a...
In this case means like they don't care about dying. The first guy's got to be about the shit, so he knows he's gonna die. Like what? What does that? What is about what shit? The shit is dying.
I don't. There. If you could see, let's say these guys are talking about like 10 battle hardened guys that are going after this. If you could see your buddy getting his head ripped off by a gorilla and it doesn't falter you for a second, there's something wrong with you. That is an issue with you as a person.
Yeah.
And you really need to see a therapist.
Be about the therapy. That's the shit you need to be about. Okay. There's so many things that were crazy that were just said. One, when you just casually said, yeah, like the meth Nazis.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know. I just looked it up, and apparently one of the Nazis' military strategy was giving their soldiers methamphetamines.
All right. So you have 10, let's say you have 10 men amped up on meth.
No, you can't do that. It's cheating.
No, I know. It's adding. But even so, the fact you listed in the beginning, and this is what all these guys are ignoring. I think they think like a gorilla is just like The Rock, right? They're ignoring the fact that you said they could lift 1,700 pounds
to 2,000.
That is 10 average men.
That's all of you.
That's all. He could literally with his arms ball you all up and lift you in the air, and you all think that you could hold him back? And do you think if you go for his balls, he's gonna fall over and be like, oh, or is he getting bloodthirsty and going on an adrenaline rush? Or if you poke at his eye, you do something, that's when the adrenaline kicks in. He's not lifting 2,000 pounds, he's lifting 4,000 pounds.
I love the guy. The guy literally goes, easy. I just go for his windpipe. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You're going to grab a silverback gorilla by its windpipe and just crack it. What? What are you saying right now?
They don't understand also the muscle density of because if you've ever met like a big bodybuilder guy, that are in those big, I'm not talking about like the ones that are like shows like the world's strongest man type big guys.
Yes, the big boys.
Big.
I need a big boy.
You could like sock one of them in the stomach and they won't even notice it, right? Because that's kind of now imagine that density times like 10.
With agility. That's the part that they're not getting. It has the muscular ability times a million of those guys. But it's mobile. It's fast. It can literally move. Like, grab its arms. It's going to throw you across the field that we're in, apparently.
Because, like you said, the whole point is, let's say, all right, if it can lift 1,700 pounds with both arms, in an adrenaline rush with one arm, it could lift up 5 guys with one arm. Right. And it's like, to your point, it's the agility it has, the speed it has, right? They're expecting these guys to be able to all go in and like pin it down in some way or another. And also has legs. So you would need 20 people just to pin it down. And that's assuming that you were able to get a grip on this.
You're going to pin it down at all.
Yeah, of this thing that's able to move so fast and that's killing people and that you're covered in muck and gore and blood. God.
Well, the confidence, she's like, I just ripped this windpipe out. No, No, you wouldn't. You would be screaming for your mother as he holds the decapitated head of your best friend. God. What? What are you? He literally is like, they're like so nonchalant, like, oh yeah, of course. I would just go for his windpipe. Like, you couldn't even find its windpipe.
No, and also like if you grabbed it, you would feel like this metal pipe there that your little man hands like could not do anything to.
He literally, for the listeners, you know how you're like, oh, just a little bit, like just with his thumb and his pointer finger, like the size of a quarter. He's
how would I win one-on-one like this?
I would pinch his windpipe. I'm like, that's not even gonna hold his pinky toe, brother.
As he goes home, chomps down on you.
He bites down on you with the force of a lion. A greater force than a lion. It's not even the facts, because the facts are absurd. It's just the idea that these guys are like, oh yeah, we could take him with 10. I could take it to
the confidence.
Yeah.
Because I'm okay with someone being like, if someone wants to get real nerdy about it and talk about like, let's say this
like
is
Mythbuster style.
Yeah. Do something like that. Sure. Prove me wrong. But don't come in saying like, oh, these people are idiots to think that you wouldn't beat a gorilla. And a lot of them are saying things like, well, I think people are acting like gorillas are King Kong. It's like, no, I'm acting like a gorilla is a silverback gorilla that you clearly have not looked at. Before.
That's the thing. They don't even look at it. It's like I honestly think, even having seen gorillas, probably not attacking, maybe in a zoo if they've ever been, like, I think they still think that. Like, I think they still think if I mean, they're talking about themselves. They're saying ripped bros or whatever, like, whatever men, like, high value men probably. Then they're saying
it'd be about that shit.
That shit. But they're saying like, I would do blank. So it's like, okay, so you're categorizing yourself in that category, which already question, red flag. But even if you were in that category, it's like, dude, the confidence is horrifying. Just the fact that you're this confident, I know a gorilla would tear you apart.
Right. It's, this is reminding me of, it's also then do it. Let's see it happen. Let's see you agree to this for $1 million. Let's see you agree that none of them are going to say yes to this, because it's, well, first off, you can't do that. Don't do that to a gorilla.
Yeah, we love gorillas.
We love gorillas, right? They've done no wrong here, right? But also, like, they're not going to say yes. It's much easier. This reminds me, this is where I'm getting to, not safe for work moment right here, but that video I responded to that went viral about, would you S a D for $100 million? And all these guys are like, no, wouldn't do it. Yes, you would. Say it as you would, you'd lose to a gorilla, and you would absolutely S a D for $100 million, right? And if you didn't, you're as bad as the guy who thinks he can go one-on-one with a bear. And somebody pointed out, they were like, well, a bear could beat up a gorilla. Bears have claws and teeth. And first off, I don't know if it would, but do you have bear claws?
Yeah,
right? You have
I
bear
think
teeth?
maybe those talons on the toes, but
well, if a bear could beat a gorilla and I could beat a bear,
then I could beat a gorilla.
I could beat a gorilla. By I know logic. I know standard syllogism.
Boy math. Okay, so speaking of that, let's talk strategy. We have a video here of strategy: 100 men versus a gorilla.
This is the game plan to beat the gorilla. We're throwing in all these intangibles and variables and things like that. I'm gonna make it simple. It's gonna take less time and have less casualties. We're saying things like infinite stamina almost, or stamina enough to beat up 20 to 30 people. And you know, I can probably agree with that, but my strategy will eliminate the stamina aspect. Things like sight, we gotta get rid of his sight. That way he can't see what he's doing. Honestly, I think the biggest problem is the teeth and the biting. The muscle strength, all these things, saying that he can bench all this weight and rip trees out of the ground. I haven't seen any of that online. All we've seen is two mammoths fighting head to head, force to force. And from what I've seen, they don't last very long. We take 20 of our biggest men in linebacker and 20 of our biggest men in the world's strongest power lifters, or whatever the case is, and we put them in there. Well, first we gotta eliminate the stamina aspect. That's when the decoys come into play. Whatever they gotta do, gotta throw poop at them, hairs, taunt them. That is what we're going to do in order to get their attention. They can run up to 28 miles an hour. We get some of our fastest sprinters or long distance runners. We're gonna keep that going for a good 3 to 4 minutes until we can tell that he's somewhat tired. Right, he's angry, he's mad, he's not thinking logically, he's not going to be thinking in a strategic mindset like, oh, let me pretend that I'm tired so that way they can come in closer. No, that's when the reinforcements are going to come in. Their job is to get him on his back. How do we deal with the bite? Well, we get somebody that's heavy set with a lot of fat on their skin. Less muscle, more fat. They're going to be biting into that. Yes, their bite force will most likely bust into that and probably break some bones. So they're going to come into play once we get them pinned down. Then we're going to have the ladies with the long nails. We're going to eliminate the eyesight just in case he is able to get back up. They're going to come in, they're going to stab him in the eyes. That's where we're going to eliminate the eyesight. After all that, we have the heavy hitters. This is just plan A. This is not an anime. This is not a comic book character. This is somebody on Earth just like us. Higher muscle mass, stronger bone density, tougher skin. But when we add in all the finishers into the play and what they're capable of doing will be enough to shatter bones. And that's all we need. Now, if we really want to get into some MacGyver stuff, because I know a lot of you guys cannot figure out your way out of a paper bag, adding clothes to the equation, adding belts to the equation only makes it much easier. We're talking about prep time or no prep time, it doesn't matter. If we have plenty of cloth and clothing and plenty of belts, plenty of shoes that we're using as utilities and weapons to MacGyver something, I guarantee you the fight will be a lot easier. It might take a little bit longer versus my strategy, but I think we'll be down to almost 0 casualties. Few broken bones, muscle soreness, probably here or there, more than likely some bleeding. But yes, it's a win.
This dude literally has drawn a map and has drawn a little gorilla. It's like a cartoon.
I also, it could, once again says, okay, you have your fastest guys go in as decoys and your strongest guys go in as decoys. So you're expecting the fastest ones to volunteer.
Right.
To also, no, they're not gonna, they're like no one's gonna get caught. Gorillas are faster than Usain Bolt, right? This is not like an instance of like, oh, well, they'll be able to stay away from him if they run full speed. No,
yeah. He's catching them.
Yeah, and also, what makes you say, or does he not see everyone else in this moment? Is everyone else?
No,
hiding?
those guys are hiding. Well,
hiding.
It's also just like, sir, like. He talks about we need to distract him. So if we're throwing poop at him,
yeah.
Why are the humans throwing poop? There's thousands of ways to distract him.
He could do that too. The gorilla's gonna do that. Might do that first.
I know they're gonna poop in their hands and throw. Like, why would you be throwing poop? Why are like men are like, we'll throw poop at him. This isn't first thought, by the way. This is thought out. Like this man's been planning, and the start of his plan is we'll throw our own poop.
Yeah,
sir. You cannot. That's like a grade school kid going against a collegiate, a college grad. Like if we're throwing poop, he's going to out poop throw you. I will tell you that right now.
I guess I shouldn't be. These are the same guys that said that they could return a serve from Serena Williams or win a point off Serena, right? Like some of these guys. Well, there were a couple things like that went out there that they think that they are somehow able just because they have this weird confidence that doesn't match up to any sort of lived experience or reality that would ever. Also, these are also most of these men, right, are not this guy said train. If you took our 20 top trained fighters, whatever, that's not the scenario. Also, first
right,
it said 100 dudes, right? But the most men haven't gotten a fight since like middle school, right? Who's training fighting? Most of us aren't boxers. Most of us aren't able to handle. Most of us aren't soldiers who can handle the psychological warfare that goes into this. I'm sorry, nobody has made an argument yet that I find anywhere close to feasible.
I think it's crazy. Also, aside from the poop throwing that he brought in, we'll bring in like fat people and they'll bite them and eat. Yeah. What? What is that? What does that mean?
Yeah, I know.
What does that mean? Why are you doing? And then the women. There's no women in this scenario. Like, what are you talking about? And you can tell he thinks he's a genius.
Yeah. When he said women with nails, as if like men don't have nails. Like also to jab at an eye, you don't want to have like press on nails,
right?
You don't want to have like or like even like really well done manicure. You just need your fingers. That's it. You jab eyes with fingers.
Oh my God. I really can't.
I don't know what strategy he thinks clothes are going to play in this scenario. Also,
he was like, and the clothes strategy, like no.
There's.
Oh, now you're naked, like.
Yeah. What do you think you're going to use the belt to like grab his arm or something? How are you going to cinch that belt that quickly against this? Oh my God.
There's so much. Okay, we'll do one more about this. Then, oh God.
No.
If it was King Kong, then the conversation would be there. But we've done more with less people. 100 men versus one gorilla? Why is this even an argument? 100 men pulverize a silverback gorilla. Argue with the wall. It's right here. Argue with this. Because why do you think a gorilla would beat 100 men? Look at the statistics of a gorilla and pit 100 men against that. Who do you think's actually coming out on top? That's right, the men. And I'm not even talking weapons. I'm talking straight hands. Even with weapons, it would be even more unfair. Just hands, that's still not an issue. All 100 guys go against this thing, it's not surviving. Literally simultaneously dogpiling the gorilla would be more than enough. Oh, but a gorilla can lift 2 to 3 times its weight. It's not going to be able to lift that, I promise you. The average human male weighs anywhere from 160 to 200 pounds. There's no way that gorilla is lifting all 100 people. I feel like people who say the gorilla wins are just rage baiting. You have to be. Because there is no logical way a gorilla, one gorilla, beats 100 men. I don't believe it.
Let me just paint the picture. We have a bro here with, his hair pushed back. He's leaned all the way back in a gaming chair. All the way back. The gorilla would be pulverized. Mm-hmm. It's just like, what a tone and attitude to take over a made up situation that another man made up. Like, this is all men making up scenarios about gorillas versus like taking any interest in the actual world around them and the actual, horrible things that are happening to just everybody. But rather they would like to get this irate over an imaginary gorilla situation. Forget about human rights. Let's talk about gorilla fights. Like, gorilla fights, not human rights.
They talk about like covert red flag as if a guy doesn't like cats.
Yeah.
I think this is a new covert red flag. How confident are they that 100 men this is a first date question right here.
Yep.
Do you believe 100 men could defeat a silverback gorilla? And it's not even necessarily, some might, you can say yes and not be a terrible person.
Yeah.
It's the how confident are you?
Like the tone, the way that they're talking, like, oh my God, you guys are idiots.
Anybody saying no must be rage baiting.
Like, let me tell you, with all of my, knowledge on gorillas, men with literally no experience are talking about groups of people they would not be in. Like, I have not seen a single man who has talked that would be in the group that they said is needed to take this guy, to take a gorilla down. Right. And they're all assuming in all of their plans that like there would be these huge dudes, these sacrificial men that would just throw themselves out there while the smaller men in the back are like, yeah. I'm like, babe, you're the ones in the front. Babe, it would be you. You would be in the first group.
Oh no, I'd be the hero that would come in and
that's what I mean. They all think that they're like the heroes of the story. It's like, honey, you would be who they send in first. Like, your team won. Like, you're the first row.
They always, like, several of them have mentioned the psychological aspect and then just write it off as if it's no big deal. And I keep going back to that because I think it is the factor, right? A wild animal is not going to be like, oh, I bet that guy had a family. That's not gonna. But if I see a friend getting his head ripped off, I'm gonna be like, that guy had a family. It's good.
We used to play backgammon.
Oh my God, John! Right, there's no world exists where everyone's gonna be like, all right, round 2, keep going, boys. All right,
I know.
20 of us down. We got this.
Have you seen like a man when a child throws up? They're like, ah, changing that. It's like, you can't stand some of the simpler things in life, but you can just be stoned, like 10 toes down, stone faced, watching somebody's limbs be ripped from their body, or watching someone get bit into with a greater force than a lion and blood spewing everywhere. And you're just like, oh yeah, I would not be phased at all.
On a more philosophical note, do you imagine seeing 20 guys dismembered and torn limb from limb isn't going to mess up you up for the rest of your life? Who is there any winner in this situation?
Nobody wins.
Anyone? You all just saw 20 men get dismembered in a bloody, horrific way, and then you murdered a defenseless, or like an innocent, not defenseless, because it's definitely not defenseless, but an innocent.
You think it is?
Yeah, silverback gorilla for the sake of proving your manliness. And all of a sudden, you think you're just going to walk away as a winner? Nobody wins.
You're a loser.
Nobody wins.
In the grand scheme of things.
You lost that battle. So that's another level of losing.
Yeah, the silverback was honorable. 100 dudes just came up on it trying to kill it. and it fought with its last breath. Actually, I think it's still alive. I think you're dead, to be honest.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I think it also showcases like the little empathy they have. That I think they're delusional that they wouldn't be impacted by it, but like they're like, yeah, I would just see the first 20 dudes be massacred, and then I just do my thing.
Then I go in and rip the gorilla's nuts off, and just and jab his eye out as if that's something that comes naturally to, as one does, as if that's so simple to do.
Well, what's the saying? They have to be down for it. What was it?
What did they say? on their shit. What was it? I forgot. I've never used this term.
About that shit.
About that shit. Yeah.
Yeah. You just be about that shit, and then we'll throw shit, and then I feel like if you asked women like, as a horrific punishment, you have to watch a silverback gorilla go through 100 women and then hopefully fight it. Like, that's a horrific thing to think about. Like, I would never want to see women ripped apart by a gorilla because somebody's getting ripped apart, undoubtedly. And for them, it's like a pleasurable thought.
That's exactly. It's so weird. It's like they're excited about it.
Yeah, like, oh, I can't wait to see someone ripped apart. Not me though. Not me, because I'm the prime hunter here. That wouldn't be me. Is this fun for you? Do you fantasize about gorilla fights? I think you do.
I think they do. I think that's
you do.
the whole thing goes back to like you even like you'd see funnier shows like of like runners going against like a horse or stuff like that. It's such a weird thing, like because they want to be like the alpha mammal on the planet, and they're like, I think I could freaking outrace a racehorse if in the right circumstances, if I had cleats on and it was muddy, I got a good, if I was full speed at the start.
I'm telling you right now, if I could swim really well, I could take on a great white. Undoubtedly.
I could fucking take down a shark. I think I could do it.
I have seen Shark Week. I know the trick where you flip them on their back.
That's all you do. You rub
They go to sleep. You rub their belly.
I'm sure that when I start attacking it, it won't do anything back to me, though. It's
I could wrestle a snake, no problem. Like an anaconda, please.
Nah, whatever.
Jennifer Lopez took one on. If she can do it.
Have you seen that? You seen the movie Congo? Those monkeys were jumping into the lava. The end of it.
Yeah, I'm astounded by the confidence. And again, it's like they think about these things for fun. It's the ego of it all. Like I just don't understand the pleasure these type of men get from fantasizing about like horrific massacres.
And I do think that's where this gets to a more serious conversation, is that it is like, I think it's probably why it's gotten under my skin and some of the other people. It's like, why do
you want to kill a gorilla?
What is this about? Even if I did believe that the men will win, which I don't, I want to be clear. We do not. I've been very clear on this. Even if I did, I'm not going to go out and say like, yeah, we'd fuck that gorilla up. No, because I'm not an asshole. Right? I'm not going to take pleasure in thinking about a poor silverback gorilla. I keep wanting to say defenseless, but it's not defenseless. The poor innocent.
It didn't start the fight at the very least. The fight.
It's not. Gorillas aren't fantasizing about fighting 100 men.
They should be.
Their gorilla buddies like, how many guys do you think we could take out?
I think I could take definitely a good 100.
Right. Hey, Kevin, how many gorillas can we take out?
Kevin, stop throwing your poop. Come over here.
Yeah, come over here. How many of these guys? See these shitty guys over here?
This idiot.
See this idiot right here? How many of those fuckers could I take out?
I would actually love that if at the zoo, when we're all just gawking at them, they're like, I could fucking kill that guy for sure.
Hey, watch me throw my shit at this guy, Rochester.
He's a goner. In the wild, dead in 10.
Yep. I've seen someone get hit in the face with orangutan poop, by the way.
Why? Where? A zoo?
Wait, can I share a story? Someone, it was at a zoo. An orangutan was throwing shit at people, and a guy was just walking by, smacked him right in the face.
Did he scream?
Yeah. I don't. It was one of those. I ran. I was
That's close enough to a silverback. Go.
Right. Hold on. Someone sent me.
What?
Okay. So a story with an orangutan. That just reminded me
What?
No, this is good. So he gave me permission to share that. I completely forgot about this because I was going to use it in the video, but now that we're talking about it here, I'll share it here. He said, so I wanted to reply to your Silverback story. My wife commented on my comment on the story about when I was deployed to Africa. We had to do some safety intelligence briefing on what the threats were. And the number one threat in East Africa for U.S. service members was the wildlife. Now, most injuries were from goats jumping out of trees on top of people because apparently the goats climb trees in Djibouti. I didn't understand, but there was one story where 4 Navy SEALs had decided they were going to put a football jersey on an orangutan and take it. This is a fucked up story, by the way. I want to be very clear. There's something really, I'm going to share something. But they wanted to put a football jersey on an orangutan and take a picture of it. So they laid out Gatorade that they had laced with Ambien. And the orangutan drank 2 or 3 bottles of it, and he started to get tired. So they thought they had a chance when it fell asleep. So they moved in and tried to put the jersey on it. He said he thinks it was a Dolphins jersey. It wakes up and thrashes them. These are 4 Navy SEALs, remember. One guy is unscathed. The other 3 are emergency medevac to Germany for a collection of broken ribs, cranial fractures, and a shoulder ripped out of its socket. They looked like they were caught in a large machine's gears. And so from that, the Headquarters Command for Africa issues a special addendum to General Order 1, do not feed wildlife. So orangutans are very strong, as it turns out. So 4 Navy SEALs went to drugged up an orangutan with Ambien to try to take a picture with it.
It still whooped their asses.
Whooped beyond, but where it said they look like were they cranial fractures, etc.
What is wrong with people? Like what? Like I can't imagine a world any of that is in my mind. But to be like, oh, dude, I really want a picture of an orangutan in a jersey, which is already what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
okay. So we have that, and then it's like, well, it'd be really hard to get on a orangutan. Let's drug it with Ambien. Could have killed it, by the way.
Yeah, but they didn't care. They were like, let's put the picture, and so 4 Navy SEALs versus a drugged up orangutan, and they did not stand a chance.
Clearly.
So now tell me again, men of the internet, how you think 100 of you could take on a silverback gorilla in a fair fight, in a bare knuckle brawl.
With no Navy SEALs, probably.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, they're trained to kick it. Like
they're trained fighters that can they know what they're doing.
And again, it's like
top fighters, not
top
just
fighter. No, you have to. Yeah.
To be a SEAL.
I can't get over the fact that you're not going to be on each other's shoulders and then be able to form a dome of humans.
They think they're Voltron. They're
Voltron.
They could, with our powers combined, we can mold into this giant 100
form of dome.
No.
The most you can do is have a bunch of you running at it at once.
You still need to have that shell of 20 people in front that are willing to die for the cause.
Yeah. They're like, who's going to get tired out? It's like, do you know how quickly that gorilla would get through you, but too?
Mm-hmm.
If an orangutan can take on 4 Navy SEAls, I think it's shocking that we have such a great story to fit into prove our point. Not a great story in its proof, not great in its subject matter or its contents. That's horrific.
I'll probably make a video of that story still because it needs to be said.
It needs to be said.
Because also, I guarantee you, this is the worst part. And some people will think this is funny. I don't think it's funny because I don't want people getting hurt. There's going to be some guys that are like, let's go find a fucking gorilla. Let's go take a picture with a gorilla. This is going to inspire some people to do some stupid shit.
Aren't they still endangered?
Yeah.
I thought they were. Let's look it up. They're endangered.
Yeah.
Also, why are you thinking about fighting an endangered animal? Stop it. That's what you think? You don't care. It's like, oh, don't think about saving them. Don't think about anybody else. Let's think about fighting and killing an endangered species. What is wrong with you? Why?
What's 2026 going to be? I said that in the video. I was like, it's 1,000 men versus a tornado. But what's it going to be next? Could 1,000 men take on a T-Rex? Is that going to be the next
probably
hypothetical? That one, at least, there's no T-Rexes around to get hurt from this hypothetical anymore.
Let's protect real animals from men's hypotheticals, please. Oh God.
I have nothing more to say. Good day.
There's so much fucking going on in the world right now. So many atrocities. So much to be worried about, and so many men silent about these issues, not getting in debates, not posting, not commenting.
But this
is what brings them out. This is what gets them enraged, and this makes them, want to have conversations and plan stuff out. Like, you have probably planned out more about defeating a gorilla than you have planned out about helping another human being today.
It really does, and it's something that always tells me a lot. You can always tell a lot about a person, especially for content creators, is if they never speak out on anything ever, but then all of a sudden they choose one like very specific thing. And we're once again taking this conversation to a little bit bigger idea. This goes above and beyond the gorilla conversation, right? But there are certain times where they will get outraged by a very specific thing that also just happens to be like a little bit racist, right? Or a little bit sexist. Like there's something like all the people jumping to loudly speak out on behalf of Justin Baldoni.
Oh, Jesus
right?
Christ.
Like that's not to bring that. I want to go back into that right now. But it's interesting how they've never spoken up against anything else ever, but all of a sudden this is like what the issue they've decided to take their grand stand on, right? Well, ignoring all of the other horrific things that were that were worse, right? They were talked about and that they were silent on, but all of a sudden this is the thing they talk about.
Or like it'll be like a woman does a bad thing in a really weird story, but they don't ever talk about when the men do it, and they'll leave it up kind of like subtle, like, what do we think of this?
Yeah.
Like, do we think like maybe women are liars? Like maybe women do falsely accuse, like that kind of shit. And you're like, well, that's an interesting thing to bring up casually. What about the other stuff?
Yeah. It's okay to talk about silly things. People can have fun and have these funny, silly hypotheticals as a distraction. But if that's all you're talking about,
well, they're not being silly about it though. They're not like, this is funny. They're like, you're an idiot. You're so dumb that you don't think we can take on gorillas. Here's a plan I made out with multiple colors that I drew.
Because even in the word, it goes back to the fragility of this this faux masculinity is they cannot ever admit defeat or that they would ever be in a position of weakness in any situation, no matter how absurd, right? They always have to be the dominant alpha men, and there's no situation you could prove that they will ever admit that there's no chance, right? That they would lose, that they would likely lose in that scenario. No, they are the alpha, they are the dominant, the sigma, whatever the hell dumb thing they want to say out loud now, and they have to be on that side of it, because the second they admit that there's a chance that they would lose, everything else crumbles, right? There's no foundation for them to still be a strong, manly man and admit there's a situation where maybe they wouldn't be the strongest one in the room.
They might lose to a gorilla. Yeah. I mean, like, with all the horrible things that get said about women online and to women online, the fact that these guys would hear this hypothetical situation and be like, oh, how dare you say we couldn't take on an imaginary gorilla? I will get on my page and I will yell at you over this. Like, it is the fragility. It's like, it's the fragility of not being able to even be perceived in a hypothetical situation that no one's talking to you. No one went to that guy specifically and was like, hey, creator, you specifically would not make it with a gorilla. But just the idea that he could be in the group of men that we're saying would
dare you attack men in this way by saying that we couldn't do this.
Yeah, it is entirely fragile. And again, it's like, you chose to raise your voice about a gorilla strategy plan, killing a gorilla plan, and are silent in most other cases. That says a lot about you. Not anything about the gorilla. The gorilla wouldn't do this. I haven't seen a single gorilla make a video.
Not one. Not one. They know sign language.
Oh, shit.
Have we asked one of the signing gorillas about this? How do they feel about this?
Honestly, to tell the gorilla the situation, I don't know what signs they know, but to have to sign.
How hurtful.
These men want to know if they can kill you. They're fighting over if they can kill you or not. Like, the gorilla would be like, what the fuck, dude?
Where's my teddy bear?
What's your problem?
What the hell? I'm fucking speaking to you.
Well, because also, like, I'm signing, but also, like, when gorillas do it, they're doing it for, like, survival. Like, they do these things not out of, like, malice or, like, cruelty. Usually.
Last thing, there was somebody tried to point out that, like, as if this was a point on the side of the 100 men, that, you know, that there's studies that show that gorillas get really stressed out when they have to fight a lot. As if that's somehow, and it was like, so, I mean, they can't even handle that.
They're wusses. They get
wusses.
stressed. I'm like, what happens to you? And
Yeah.
what happens to you?
Tell me, Chad, how many do you have to fight daily to survive in your pack to be allowed access to food?
Yeah, like fight for your life every single day? I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah, that's you don't have your, oh God, I can't even talk.
Someone brought up though, they're like, I'm not concerned. Like fighting gorilla, can you even fight loneliness? I was like, oh shit. I was like, savage. Oh, but I mean, if you want to say they're getting stressed out over literally fights which they die at the end, that's like, I'm pretty sure gorilla fights are like other animal fights where you might die. Like dominance fights you might die. If you had to fight every day, like you might die for that. 100%.
I'd be stressed out too. I have to work every day and I got the risk of getting in a fist fight with one of my coworkers.
That they're gonna rip your head off?
Yeah, just don't get access to my classroom or something like that. I'm gonna be stressed out. I'm not gonna want to work there anymore.
And your wife's like, hey, I want you to know that I might not be your wife at the end of this. I'll go for the dominant one.
Right.
That was can I tell you a really weird, it'll be very quick.
Okay.
When we went to the Galapagos Islands, so there's these sea lions on the Galapagos Islands. I don't know about anywhere else how their hierarchy works, but they're fucking huge. And also people try and touch them and then they get attacked by them. So don't touch them. But you're not even supposed to touch them. But they like what happens is every single day, like the male sea lion cruises the area, and then other sea lions try to like take them on. So every single day they have to fight for dominance of the island, or there's whatever space they have, and they have their whole like family which is usually like women, and then there's some like young males, but eventually they get kicked out. And so every single day they fight for their own survival, and they may fight to the death. And if they lose the fight with another male, they have to immediately abandon their entire family, potentially maybe not even live through it, but if they live through it, and all the females just then move on to the new guy and have to just be like, okay, you're my new husband. And I was like, I feel so bad for the women.
I guarantee you that top alpha sea lion isn't having conversations like, I wonder how many seals it would take to take me down. What if 100 seals could take me down?
I'll tell you what, we were sitting, there's like a cove, and a male came in that was not the dominant male, and it was sitting up with a female, and we see this torpedo going through the water. We're like, what the hell is that? And it was a ginormous male. I mean, it was huge. And it flops up on the shore, and they start fighting. It's like right next to us. We're like, oh, we're dead. We're gonna get, because I think we could have been killed. I mean, it was huge, and it just like, and then it fought both of them out of the cove, and then just swam back. And I was like, God, the natural world is a little terrifying.
Wild, yeah.
I think the sea lion could have killed some of these men.
How many men would it take to take down a sea lion?
That sea lion?
Next week on TikTok.
I'm sure they would say they could kill it single-handedly.
Yeah.
And that's on being overly confident in your physical abilities.
Regan, where can people find us online?
Not fighting gorillas. You can find us on our TikToks. Wait, no.
Our personal TikToks.
We have our personal TikToks, F the Nice Guy and the Speech Prof. And you can also find us on our Instagram, the Mr. Pick Me and Manhater Instagram. And you can find us on YouTube if you want to see us. And if you want to hear more from us in an unhinged manner, you can find us on the Patreon.
Usually our more behind the scene takes on things like politics and relationships and things that we're like, probably better not make a video about this.
So yeah, find us there. And other than that, friends, we will see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
I love you.
I got some good advice for you.